Professor Zelthorn had collected predators from 17 star systems, but none compared to the Vrakshi. The creature stood 8 feet tall on 4 muscular legs, its obsidian exoskeleton gleaming under the laboratory lights. 2 pairs of razor-sharp mandibles clicked rhythmically as it surveyed its domain through compound eyes that could detect movement across 3 spectrums simultaneously. Magnificent, isn't it? Zelthorn gestured toward the reinforced containment field with 2 of his 6 tentacles. His students, a mix of species from across the galactic consortium, nodded nervously. The Vrakshi is apex evolution. No natural predator. No fear response. Perfect killing efficiency. The creature had earned its reputation. On its homeworld of Vraksha Prime, it sat unchallenged at the top of the food chain. The professor had spent 3 standard years and a small fortune obtaining the specimen, along with the appropriate permits. He'd lost 2 collection drones in the process. Zelthorn continued his lecture. Notice how it never displays submission behaviors. The Vrakshi hierarchy recognizes only one position: dominant. They bow to no one. A young Quellan student raised a crystalline appendage. Professor, what about the humans? I heard they've been assigned to the xenobiology exchange program. Several students chittered nervously. Humans had joined the consortium only 2 cycles ago, and their reputation preceded them. Stories circulated about Deathworld survivors who kept predators as companions and called it friendship. Superstition, Zelthorn dismissed with a wave. Humans are simply another species. Remarkable durability, yes, but this changes nothing about xenobiology fundamentals. The door to the laboratory hissed open, and the human exchange student entered. Captain Sarah Chen was unremarkable by human standards. Average height, dark hair pulled back practically, wearing a simple consortium jumpsuit. But something in the way she moved made the Vrakshi's antennae snap to attention. She walked with the unconscious confidence of someone who'd survived situations that would have killed most other species. Sorry I'm late, Professor, Sarah said, approaching the containment field. Had to finish quarantine protocols. The Vrakshi shifted. Its killing claws extended slowly, and its mandibles opened to expose the serrated inner teeth that could shear through battle armor. Every student in the room took an instinctive step backward. Sarah stepped forward. Fascinating specimen, she said, tilting her head as she studied the creature. Reminds me of the spider tanks on Proxima 7, except organic. She glanced at Zelthorn. May I? May you what? The professor's translator struggled with his confusion. Approach it. I worked with aggressive xenofauna during the colony wars. Behavioral assessment is kinda my thing. Zelthorn's chromatophores flickered uncertainty. Captain Chen, that creature has killed 17 of my automated handlers. The containment field is for everyone's protection. What you're suggesting is standard procedure where I'm from. Sarah was already moving toward the field controls. I assume it can't breach the barrier? Well, no, but... Sarah deactivated a section of the containment field and stepped through. The laboratory erupted in alarm. Students scattered. Zelthorn reached for the emergency protocols. The Vrakshi coiled, every muscle tensing for the strike that had ended countless prey animals. Its hunting screech rattled the equipment. Sarah didn't flinch. She stood perfectly still, hands relaxed at her sides, and met the creature's compound gaze with calm brown eyes. Her breathing remained steady. No fear pheromones, no panic, just quiet presence. The Vrakshi lunged. It covered half the distance before something made it stop. Not the barrier that was behind it now. Not a weapon, Sarah carried none. The creature froze mid-strike, antennae quivering, processing something its instincts had never encountered. A human who wasn't prey. Sarah waited, then slowly, very slowly, extended her hand palm up. A universal gesture in human culture, though the Vrakshi couldn't know that. What it could sense was the absolute lack of submission in her posture, combined with equally absolute lack of aggression. She was offering something the Vrakshi had never experienced. Choice. You're not food to me, Sarah said quietly, and I'm not trying to dominate you. So how about we just coexist? The creature's mandibles clicked rapidly. An action Zelthorn's databases indicated meant confusion. The Vrakshi circled Sarah once, then twice, testing. She turned with it, maintaining eye contact, never presenting her back but never threatening. After the 3rd circle, the Vrakshi did something that made every xenobiologist in the room question their understanding of interspecies behavior. It lowered its head, not in submission. The professor's sensors confirmed the creature's threat level remained high. but in acknowledgement, in respect. The gesture of one apex predator recognizing another, Sarah reached out and touched the space between its antennae, the one vulnerable spot on its entire body that the creature had voluntarily exposed. "Good call," she said softly, then turned and walked back through the containment field as casually as she'd entered. The Vrakshi watched her go, mandibles clicking in what the translation software desperately tried to interpret as dozens of contradictory emotions simultaneously. Zelthorn's tentacles hung limp. That's impossible." The Vrakshi bows to no one. Sarah shrugged, a peculiarly human gesture. "It didn't bow, Professor, it chose. Big difference." She glanced back at the creature, which was still watching her. "On Earth, we learned a long time ago that the deadliest thing isn't the biggest predator. It's the one that can decide when not to kill." She smiled, another human expression that still unsettled most species. Survival of the fittest doesn't mean survival of the strongest. It means survival of whoever adapts best. We adapted to living alongside predators, made peace with them, made partners of them. Sometimes we even made friends. The Vrakshi's antennae tracked her to the door. For the first time in 3 years of captivity, the creature turned away from the rest of the room and pressed itself against the side of the containment field closest to where Sarah had exited, waiting. Zelthorn updated his lecture notes with trembling tentacles. He would need to add an entirely new section on humans, specifically on how a species that evolved alongside saber-toothed predators, pack-hunting wolves and massive bears had developed not just survival skills, but something far more unusual. They'd developed the ability to look at the galaxy's deadliest creatures and see potential friends. The professor glanced at his prized Vrakshi, now ignoring its food and focused on the door. "Remarkable," he whispered. His students, slowly returning to their stations, had to agree.